Hello, and welcome from the Department of Cannabis Control. Starting January 1st, 2023, entities holding multiple active cannabis cultivation licenses can consolidate 2 or more licenses by converting them into a single medium or large cultivation license. This video shows you how to request conversion of your licenses through the department's cultivation licensing system. We recommend you review the rules and regulations for license conversion. You can find a link to the text of current laws and regulations, as well as proposed rules, in the Cannabis Law section of our website. Requesting license conversion is easy. The system helps you through each step. First, tell us which license should be included in the conversion. Then, add all owners holding an interest in the company. Next, you'll review the information you entered previously about your premises and its source of power and water. You can update this information if needed. You'll need to upload any required documentation. We may need to get additional documentation from you for your consolidated license, depending upon the type of license you selected. Finally, you'll review the information you entered, authorize your request, and submit it. After that, you'll need to pay the required fees before your license is issued. Let's take a look at this process in action. After logging in, the dashboard displays. You'll notice that the upper left button is for either new applications or conversion requests. For our demonstration, let's say we have 2 medium cannabis cultivation licenses and want to convert it into 1 large license. We'll start the process by clicking the New Application or Conversion Request button. As with all license requests, the first screen asks us to review and accept the cultivation licensing system's general disclaimer. Use the inside scroll bar to read the information. We'll mark the checkbox to indicate we've read and accepted the disclaimer, then click Continue Application. On the next screen, we've added a selection for Conversion Request. We'll select the Conversion Request radio button, then Continue Application. In this step, we'll identify which licenses to include in the conversion request and what type of license to convert them to. This process requires identifying one license as the primary license. You can read the definition of the primary license record at the top of the screen. In the License Type section, we'll identify the license ID number we want to convert to the primary license record field. Remember, the person requesting the conversion must be the designated responsible party for the primary license. Only the DRP can submit a conversion request. We'll type in the number of the license we want to serve as the primary license record. If the license we entered is not in the correct status, or if it is already associated with another conversion request, an error message displays indicating why the entered license cannot be used. If the license meets the criteria for conversion, the values for primary license expiration date and primary license legal business name automatically populate. Now we'll select the type of license we want to convert to from the Proposed License Type dropdown. The license type you choose is determined by the types of licenses we're asking to convert. For example, large or medium indoor licenses can only be converted from other indoor license types, including small, medium, specialty, and specialty cottage licenses. Large or medium outdoor licenses can only be converted from other outdoor license types. Large or medium mixed light Tier 1 licenses can only be converted from the same or smaller Tier 1 licenses, and the same applies for Tier 2. For our demonstration, we'll choose the large indoor license type. Under the License Record for Conversion section, we'll enter the additional licenses for which we are the DRP and that we want to include in the conversion request. As we said earlier, in this demonstration, we're converting 2 medium indoor licenses into 1 large indoor. We entered the first of the 2 licenses to convert as the primary license in the License Type section, so now we'll enter the second license as a license record for conversion. We'll click the Add a Row button to open a pop-up titled License Records for Conversion. Enter the requested information here. The system will check to make sure the license we entered falls within DCC guidelines for the type of licenses selected. And a message displays in red if the license cannot be used. For example, this particular license we entered is already tied to another conversion request. If the license can be used, the rest of the information is automatically entered for us. Click the Submit button after verifying the information is correct. We can add up to 10 licenses at a time by selecting the down arrow to the right of the Add a Row button and then selecting the number of rows from the menu. We can now enter as many licenses as we selected rows to add. We've already added all of our licenses, so we'll click Cancel to close the pop-up. Now that we have entered all licenses to be converted, let's go to step 2 in the process. The Owner List section shows all owners on the initial licenses. One very important note is that if any licenses to be converted has had a change of ownership, a notification request to modify a license form must be submitted before a conversion can be requested. You can find the necessary form for changing ownership information in the Department of Cannabis Control's website. Select the Licensees tab and choose CannaConnect Compliance Hub. We'll review the owner list displayed in the section for accuracy, and then acknowledge verifying the list by checking the checkbox. The second part of Step 2 is to add any information on financial interest holders. Take a moment to study the definition of financial interest holders at the top of this section. Add financial interest holders by clicking the Add a Row button in the Financial Interest Table section. As we did for adding licenses to convert earlier, we can choose to add up to 10 names of financial interest holders here. In our scenario, we'll just add one interest holder by clicking the Add a Row button to bring up the pop-up dialog. The Financial Interest Holder pop-up offers several fields for data entry. Different fields display in the dialog depending upon whether the holder is an individual or an entity. We'll enter information in for an individual. When we finish adding the required information, we'll select the Submit button. The information we entered now displays in the table. Remember, none of this information is saved yet, so if we were to step away and the session timed out, we would lose any information entered thus far. It's always a good idea to select the Save and Resume Later button before stepping away for a prolonged period of time. Let's go ahead and continue with this application. Step 3 is to review the address information for each parcel. The Premises Information section shows the address for the primary license number entered in Step 1. If any information about the premises needs to be changed for the converted primary license record, use the corresponding proposed fields on the right to make these changes. We'll leave the current information as is. Scrolling down, the Additional Premises section lists any additional premises included in the primary license. In this case, there were 2 premises on the primary license, so we see the second one displaying here. To change any of the additional premises information, select the record and click Edit Selected. To add an additional premises address, click Add a Row. The final section of this screen lists all premises address for the licenses included in the conversion request. This is a read-only section and will reflect any updates we made above. We'll review this information, then click Continue Application to move on to reviewing and updating the power and water information. As with the addresses, information on the primary license's record's current power source is displayed in the left-hand column of the Power Source Information section. If any sources have changed, select or deselect the appropriate source in the proposed column to the right. Our power information doesn't need to be updated, so we'll continue on to review the water supply information. As with the addresses information, the current water supply source is automatically populated for us. If the source of the water supply has changed, we could edit that information here. Let's update the water source. The pop-up dialog has an explanation of each water supply type. The required fields change depending upon the type of water source selected. If we simply need to change the information about the current water supply, such as gallons delivered, we would update the appropriate field and select the status of Modify. But for this demonstration, we'll give the premises an entirely new type of water supply. To do this, we check the current supply record and click Edit Selected, choose the status Delete, and then click Submit to remove the current water supply. Next, we'll click Add a Row and enter the new water source. Fill out the appropriate information, select a status of New, and click Submit. Now that we have confirmed or updated the power and water sources for the premises, our next step is to upload any necessary documentation. The next screen provides a list of documentation needed for the type of licenses we selected. Though information was submitted for each individual license, some additional information is needed. As documents are uploaded, the document is removed from this list. It may be a good idea to jot down notes about these required documents before scrolling to the bottom of the page to upload them. You may recall this process from previous applications. Instead of adding each document one at a time, we can upload them all at once by clicking the Add button. We can only upload files that are 16 megabytes or less and that have one of the extensions shown in the text of the pop-up. Clicking the Add button here brings up a file selection dialog where we can locate the folder containing our documents. To upload several documents at once, we'll hold down the Control key while we click on each of the documents to be uploaded. Then, we'll click the Open button to add them all at once. It may take a moment for all documents to completely upload. A completion indicator displays next to each document. Click the Continue button again to add them all to the Documents table. Now we'll need to identify each document, and we do that by choosing the appropriate type from the drop-down list next to each file. If we need to communicate anything special about any document, we can also type in the description of the file in the text box. We'll go ahead and upload the types for each of these documents and meet you at the bottom of the page. Before saving the uploaded documents and the related information, it's a good idea to review them since we can't edit those documents once they've been saved. If you've grabbed any document by mistake, we can click Remove next to it, then click the Add button again and search for the correct document. Also, we have to remember to click the Save button before continuing. Don't worry, if you find you have submitted a document by mistake, you can send us an email to licensing@cannabis.ca.gov and we can remove it if needed. After clicking Continue Application, we get a green banner at the top of the screen telling us everything was successfully uploaded. Scrolling to the bottom of the screen, we see listed all of the documents we just uploaded. At this point in the process, we have selected the licenses we want to convert, added all owners and interest holders, uploaded or confirmed the premises address, reviewed and updated the power and water information, and have updated and uploaded the necessary documents. We'll click the Continue Application button to move forward. Before we submit our conversion request, we'll need to review the information entered. If anything needs updating, we can click the Edit button next to the section to revisit and update as needed. The statement at the bottom of the screen says we have read and understood the instructions, that the statements made are true, and that no material information has been omitted. We'll click the box confirming our agreement with the statement, then click Continue Application. Your conversion application is automatically submitted, and an email will be sent confirming your submission. The Department of Cannabis Control now has to review the application. If any information is missing or needs updating, we will inform you via email of the additional documentation needed. Once your application has been approved by the DCC, licensing fees are assessed. If any fees are due, you will receive an email outlining the next step needed before your license can be issued. In addition, the status of the converted request will show license fee due, with a clickable link to process payments of fees. Converted license fees are prorated according to the amount of time you have remaining on your original license. If any amount has been credited, it will be listed here. Since you are already familiar with paying licensing fees, we'll skip these steps for the sake of time. After the fees have been paid, or if no fee is due, your license status in the My Licenses section shows as license issued. Let's take a look at our updated list of licenses on the My License screen. As you can see, the conversion request has an updated status of license issued, and the primary license record shows the new expiration date. The two licenses we submitted for conversion have now been successfully consolidated into one. That's it for our training video on how to convert multiple cannabis cultivation licenses into one medium or large license. Thank you for watching, and don't forget, there are more learning resources available to you through the e-learning link, including printable materials, e-learning courses, and these videos.